Hello guys, this is Deepika from mytutorialrack.com. In the last tutorial, we have successfully created our central repository. Now we will add this central repository as a remote to both the Mary's repo as well as the MyGit repo. So first thing is I'm going to go to the Mary's repo. So I'm going to go ahead and say git Mary's repo here, and then if you look at the remote right now, Mary's has a connection with origin, which is nothing but the MyGit repo. So if I go ahead and say git remote -v, it's going to tell me that okay, it's talking about the connection with the MyGit repo. So what I want to do here is I want Mary's repo to connect with the centralized repository that I created, which is called as central-repo.git. So I want Mary to connect to that repository. So to add that connection, I will say first go ahead and remove the origin. So no more connection with the MyGit repo. So if you go ahead and say git remote, there is no connection with MyGit repo anymore. Now I'm going to go ahead and say git remote add the origin. What I'm going to call this origin, I'm going to go ahead and say the central repository is the new connection that Mary is going to make. So I'm saying git remote add origin, and then I'm saying the origin is going to be this one, central repository. So this time if you go ahead and hit this command, you will see the origin, but if you go ahead and look at the whole path by providing the -v flag, you're going to see it's pointing to the, so going to be git remote -v. So now it tells you that I'm talking about the central repository. Similarly, I'm going to go ahead and remove the connection between the MyGit repo and the Mary's repo. So if you go back here, so if you go to the one step back and if you go to MyGit repo, currently MyGit repo has the connection between, if I do the Mary's repo. So I'm going to go ahead and say remove the Mary's connections. I'm going to go ahead and remove the connection with the Mary here. So I'm going to say remove it. So now if I go ahead and do it, give me the next, it does not have any connection with Mary anymore. Now I'm going to go ahead and add the central repository to the connection. So I'm going to say git remote add origin, and this time I wanted to make connection with the central repository. So now as you can see, they both are not going to communicate, they are going to communicate through the central repository. So if I go ahead and do this, and now if I go ahead and check the connections, you will see that it has connection with the central repository now. So right now our central repository does not have any code, means it does not have any changes or it does not have any information related to the project. So now what we're going to do here is, and I also told you in the last tutorial, it's not a good practice to push the changes to any development branch or any branch, because that's not a good practice. But when we are talking about a empty repository or a centralized repository or a bare repository, there is no harm in pushing the changes to that particular repository. Because in this cases, we're not pushing the changes to any other development branch or any other developers. What we are doing here is, in this case, we are going to go ahead and push the changes to the central repository. And it's okay because it has no working directory, which means we are not disturbing anyone's development.